I forgot to do my hair. Sexy grandpa. Oh, I feel so much better. God, I feel so strong, so strong, so strong. I feel so strong. Ah, jeez, I wish I could let you hear how my bones crack when I do that. I can... Interesting thing. Yeah, you can hear sounds inside your body that other people can't. That bone cracking thing goes straight up to your spine and into your ear. And you say, did you hear that? And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm not crazy. Institutionalized, you're the one that's crazy. Institutionalized, that's my suicidal tendencies, Michael Myers impression. I'd just gotten done talking yesterday or the day before. There's a video called In the Dreaming of the Gods, ... outside of your existence. I talked about dreams. I talked about all the dreams that people have, the different kinds, and the different kinds that different psychologists say are the only kinds of dreams, and how, you know, that's what they do. That's why nobody's going anywhere, because everybody that's got a student has a student that learned something more than the teacher did, because that's the way it's supposed to work. We're supposed to be able to take all this information, History of Life by H.G. Wells and his son, the doctor, and some other guy. A book that thick has stuff from back when he's writing Jekyll and Hyde and cutting people up. Writing about people cutting people up. Beating people up. I screwed that up. In all this stuff, they wrote and they gave this great synopsis of medical history, the history of life, and it talks about the little cups in your veins, in your venal system, whatever the hell they call it. How, you know, as you get older, they've got cups. Your circulatory system works, and it pumps, the heart pumps, and it spreads this stuff down. It's supposed to boom, boom. That's the boom, or boom. I don't know. I got weird heart rhythms. It's trying to pretend it's there. Somebody wrote a program, and is doing that, and the blood sits. It stops in his cupules, little gondolas for blood. Hey, you know, shot for me, shot for you, and up we go. We're high on life. Gonna be a terrible hangover tomorrow. All this stuff they're writing about in this book that I found in a secondhand store during a dreaming. Oh my gosh. I was off on a tangent, and I came to the fact that this one dream, see, that's what it was. I was talking about dreaming. What I was saying was that you're supposed to learn from your teachers. Your teachers should never be angry with you for learning more. then they know. If your student knows more than you know, that means you're a very good teacher because you've taught them how to think. Drink, don't think. That's my Henry Rollins impression, Black Flag. But you've taught them how to think. And so instead of having all these different ideas of how things work, we should be working together instead of having to create splinter groups. But the reason I was saying that was that 100 years ago, this book that I picked up because of as part of a dream when I was driving the shoe truck. I went into a secondhand bookstore on my break, and I came across a book that I saw in a dream. The picture, I've told this stuff all before. And then I was like, oh, no. The thing is, that didn't come until later. The first thing, I was just walking through there and I saw this thing called History of Life. And that's a class I wanted to take at Michigan State. That's what I thought I took, and it turned out to be an environmental biology class. I thought they were going to teach me how to make something in my basement. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is just environmental biology. What's that tree's name? You know, what the fuck? I wanted to build something. I wanted to make something new. I thought they would have a little bit of the snippets of the secrets that they don't even understand that I could put together with different things, you know, like I'm pulling all these dreams together. And no. So when I saw The History of Life by H.G. Wells, his son who was a doctor, and some other guy that was a doctor, this was a very educational book at the time. I grabbed it, took it off the shelf. I said, I got to have this book. And then I went to the counter, put it down, and it's like a $275 book. I looked it up. I have it. It's very good. You look at this stuff and you go, we all know this. That's the part that we're talking about, where you learn from your teachers. We all know this. Once they make this common information, we're supposed to be able to pull it together and try and make something. Why do I keep saying make something better when I'm so entertained by it falling apart? That's the part that I'm working on, and I think I got it all worked out. Not even going to explain it, not today. I'm already talking too long to get the point that I was trying to get to. But I grabbed that book, take it. That's it. They taught us something that was new knowledge back then, and today it's common knowledge. I'm reading this, everybody fucking knows this. But it's interesting to see what was new back then and how it was able to be used to make things more knowledgeable now. And whole cigarette past the point that I was coming in to speak really fast about. But that's it. I'm supposed to be able to share this information and learn from it instead of just backing everybody off and saying it's only one way or another. And I was talking about the different kinds of dreams. I talked about how these guys, every one of them, like Freud and Jung, that felt like somebody was doing something that they weren't taught to do. Now I don't like you so much anymore. You're supposed to be an avatar of myself when I go. You're supposed to be me, so people always remember me. You can't be anything but me. You cannot be yourself. That's what all these different, that's the problem with psychology, is they're all fighting everybody. And the psychology of dreaming and all this stuff. They're all saying it's only 30 seconds. It's a fast dream, or there are these dreams that teach you things. There are dreams that are residual, that were nothing. And then you get things like premonitory dreams. They act like that's crazy. And I've dreamed of driving down roads and seeing places, and I've actually had deja vu even once, where I was honing these things, where I found that if you just played along, it went the way you remembered. The guy got on the shoe truck, and he says, and I looked at him, and he looked totally like a Harley rider. And there was nobody else in the back of the truck at the time, which was rare. But he got on the back of the truck looking like a Harley rider, and he walked in. And for Iron Age, we had a sanctioned boot, not an embargoed boot. It was sanctioned by Harley Davidson. It was a steel-toed boot. It was a good boot, and people often paid attention to that. But this guy walked up on there that day, and I had a memory of him. And in my memory, as he walked up the door, I said, and I was honing these things. I was paying attention to stuff. I was playing a game, you know? And I said, this guy is going to look directly at the Harley boot. He's going to pick it up and say, wow, you got... And then I'd say, yeah. And in my memory, I said to him, you ride a Harley? And in my memory, he said, no, but I'd really like to have one someday. And that moment when I saw him, I said, I got to play this game. And he got on the truck, and he said all those things, and I looked at him, and I just said, this is my line. And I knew the answer. I said, you ride a Harley? And he said, no, but I'd like to have one someday. You know, that's deja vu, but it's so interesting. Most people don't experience that until after they've experienced it. They're like, that was weird. And I mean, most people don't think about what's happening next in that memory until the memory's over, and it's hard to say that that was actually a memory at all if you didn't know what the fuck was going on until it was done. Now it's a memory. But there is. So we talk about premonitory dreams, and it's got to be connected to deja vu. It's for you. Seen it before, been here before. Second view, deja vu. So I've had the dreams where I'm going, and these dreams, they pop into my head again and again and again over years. Just pops in my head out of nowhere, and I say, I don't know why the hell I'm... Dreams are a reality, you know? They're just memories. Why is this memory keep coming into my head? And then one day you're driving and you're there. That's just like... So, is there such a thing as a premonitory dream? I don't know. Some people would say so. But everybody else that wants to have their instantaneous dreams and their spontaneous dreams and their full-blown dreams with actual time frames involved in actual sleeping reality, waking life. premonitory dream. My dad dreams lottery numbers, but on houses, and that's what we get to next, is the idea of I left out the premonitory and I left out Jung. I felt like I needed to leave Carl Jung out of it because otherwise it would have been a 37-minute video. I mean, look at how long this one's going already. The last one was like 19 minutes. I don't know. Nobody's got that kind of patience for anything. Maybe they should start smoking. Gives you something to do while you're waiting for something to happen. So my dad would dream of going to people's houses, and he'd dream of lightning too. He had premonitory dreams. But he'd dream of being at somebody's house where they never lived, but he knew him, and it was an old friend from high school 30 years later, and when he went up to their porch, he'd look at the address on the damn support beam, whatever the hell you call it, and he'd play that, what he dreamed in the lottery the next day, and he'd win. So my dad's got something. He's finally coming around to actually use the word psychic. Who knows if it's true? I mean, it's got to be true. It's just the whole computer-generated thing, right? The program, the aliens testing us out. They're allowing us glitches. But then we have to talk about Carl Jung. See, that's almost symbolism right there. It's the thing about looking at something and it's not what it is, but being able to take from it what you need. So that's a fine transition into the symbolism, the archetypal Carl Jung stuff that I wanted to talk about. He is another person with ideas and dreams. I guess they'd call him the godfather of dreaming. He was there way before Carlos Castaneda. And he talked about symbolism, archetypes, old dusty places, down in a hole, you know, down in a hole. That's my Alice in Chains impression. And I've also had those dreams. So there I am. I'm climbing down into a woodchuck hole, a groundhog, a whistle pig hole in my dad's field, and I'm down there, and there's just dark and dank, and that's one of the things he talks about in his archetypal dreams, symbolism, dreams, symbolism, all that. And I was down in that hole, and there was a whole world under there. There was another dream where I was in my grandpa's barn just north, and everybody's there, and there's a pile of bones in the middle of the barn, just down there where you back the trailer in and throw the bales up into the maw. There's this pile of bones, human, and they're leg bones, they're all the bones. And I'm standing there talking, and all of a sudden their skulls in there, and they just started chattering, and it's dank, and the light motes are coming through the cracks in the barn. And you're sitting there, it's early morning, and these things start going, and you understand everything they're saying, which is forgotten in the morning. Too bad. But I understood everything. They started chattering, this bone just it was on another level of communication. There was something, I could hear it. I didn't understand it as a language, but they were speaking in tongues without tongues. I knew everything they were saying. There's an archetypal dream. And then there's the other one. When I talk about killing zombies, in one of those videos, talked about reaching behind my back and taking out Damien Kondo's little entomology tool that he uses. It's a little pickaxe that he tears away bark and detritus with to find insects. Takomasa Kondo, good friend of mine. And he had that once when I took him to Gaylord. But in this dream, I was in the marsh of my dad's property. It's a good 90-second, 2-minute walk, if you're a guy like me, from the house to the marsh. And I was walking into the marsh in this dream, and I saw this little building, this concrete building, cinder block building, you know. It was there in the middle of the marsh, and I'd never remembered it being there before, and I was with some other people. And we walked into this building, opened the door and walked in, and it was bigger than we thought, but not huge. And there was another door, and behind it there was this, you know how you just, that energy that you hear, it's doing that. I don't know if you hear it, but it was strong. It was like magnetic. It was energy. It was electricity. It was the basis of life on the other side of that door. And there was an old heirloom, and it was all dusty in there. This is total archetypal shit. All dusty and dank. And this girl goes over and says, "What's back there?" And I said, "Don't open it." And she opened this damn door, and these zombies came flooding out. And they started eating everybody. I said, "I gotta get out of here." And out the door I went. And I'm running back towards my dad's house, and it's early morning, still gray morning. There's light. It's not dark. It's not a midnight nightmare, a mid-nightmare. And this zombie is running by me, and he's going, and he had shaved head, just bald head, totally bald. He's just nothing, and he's going, and he's trying to bite me. And I said, and that's when I reached back behind my head. This is called lucid dreaming. When you can do things in your dreams, you say, everything's okay, I can kill everybody I want, it's safe. And I pulled out that Damien Takomasa Kondo entomology bug pick, and I said, yeah. And I had learned before in zombie dreams you have to damage the brain twice to kill them. If it ever happens, that's something they're not telling us, but in every dream I have, you gotta damage the brain twice to kill them. And I pulled that thing out, and I said, yeah, because I needed something, and I thought, that's back there. And I said, God, as I'm running, and he's running next to me going, I hit him right in the side of the head, and he's still coming. I said, you gotta get him twice. And I, boom, right between there. That pick went right behind his nose, through his eye, and out the other eye, and I said, Gah! And it pulled his brains out, and he collapsed, and I finished the run to the house. And I got up to the house, and I went down by the retainer wall where the little slope of grassy knoll is, And I was down there, I was like, wow, what the fuck? And there was this woman standing there with this dark hair. Hi, baby. And she was dressed like, I don't know. She was just darkness there in the early morning light, gray. And I looked at her, and she was beautiful. And she looked down at me and she said, and I knew she was a vampire. See, I went from the zombies to a vampire. She was a vampire standing there. And she said, come with me. And I said, can I trust you? And she said, no. And I went with her. And the dream was over. That's like archetypal stuff. You know, what did that zombie in the marsh have to do with any of this? Is this showing you the darker sides of what it could be and the better sides? Because everything's better. So you got these people, they do not want to comply with the notion that somebody else has an idea other than theirs. And this is the problem, is everybody thinks they're the smartest person in the world, but the smartest person in the world can't get by of his own accord. He needs help. He needs more brains. Versus the dumbest person in the world can get by without a brain anywhere. You have a brain shoved up his ass and it wouldn't be making anything better. It's all part of the dreaming. Of the people with the computer program. Are they giving us all the options to become real boys?